How's it going, guys? Happy Tuesday. Thought I'd do a little video on a subject that, although I've seen posts about, no, I haven't actually seen people sit down and discuss it. And it's about public meltdowns when you have a special needs child. Now, prior to having Matthew, I did see quite a lot of children, and when I was obviously not educated, shall we say, I used to just think, they're not well behaved. They're just naughty children. Why can't the parents control them? All these natural things to think. So don't ever think when you see it, it's not a natural thing to think. Because I thought that, because I wasn't educated. Now I am. I think differently. I see differently. So when I see children out having a meltdown in public, acting, erratically, I don't see it as that way anymore. I don't see it as, why can't the parents just tell them off, or tell them to stop doing it, or why can't they just behave? I don't see it like that anymore. I see it as, okay, what's the root cause? There's got to be reasons behind it. It's not just I'm kicking off because I want to kick off. There's always a trigger. And although my little boy is so lovely, he is really, really lovely, sweet, and as I say, lovely, he does have meltdowns. He does, in public and at home. They're very rare, but it does. Like the other day we was out and he had a meltdown on the train. He started lashing out. He's actually trying to scratch me. I think, see there, but normally I look around, there's people staring. Natural thing. People stare. I don't mind that. I just hope that videos like this will educate people as to the reasons why he was doing it. And there was a reason. There was a trigger. So Matthew, he doesn't like anyone being upset. He doesn't like anyone crying or anything like this. There was a lady on the train with a baby in a pram and a little boy. Then the little boy was winding the little baby up, grabbing the foot and stuff like that. Baby starts crying. The mum tells the boy off. That was Matthew's trigger. Matthew doesn't like that. He doesn't like people getting told off. He doesn't like people getting shouted at. He doesn't like people crying. And that was his trigger then. So he starts getting upset because of it. And he's obviously trying to lash out because he couldn't control, regulate his emotions because of how he was feeling at the time. So I'm trying to hold him down and stuff, and he scratched me, he's trying to lash out. He calmed down, quite quickly, but it's the initial way that he was doing it. I mean, you can hear him in the background. He's all lovely now, happy and chilling out in his room. But yeah, he did kick off, and there was people staying, and as I say, it's natural to stay. I don't mind that. I would stay. I'd look over. Prior to Matthew, I'd look over and I'd be thinking probably the same thing you're thinking right now. Misbehaved child. Why doesn't the dad do something? Why doesn't the dad just tell him off? It makes it worse, doesn't it? For me, I say the initial staying, it didn't really bother me. But it's when Matthew calmed down, and people were still staying and still looking over and still, you can tell that he was muttering stuff under the breath to each other. And then when we got to the station, he was walking past and they're all looking over. I think, okay, I don't mind you staying. I don't mind that at all. But maybe ask a question then. Maybe, I don't know, ask, is he okay? Something like that. Because you don't know how bad I'm feeling inside. Now, me, I'm quite, hard-headed, shall we say, with things like that. Yeah, obviously, if my boy's hurt or whatever, like the other week, he was in hospital, and that did give me a low day. But any comments people make, it literally, I'm bald anyway, so just off the top of my head. It don't really bother me. But if you want to come over and you want to say, is he okay? Then, fine. Or if you'd like to know more, I will explain to you why he had that meltdown. And, a lot of other children out there will be the same. You'll see someone, say, in the supermarket, and we've all seen it, haven't we? The little boy or little girl or whatever throws himself on the floor and they start having a tantrum, whatever. Because it's not always special needs children, it's other children as well. But there's always a trigger. There's always something. Now, it could be that child wants a particular cereal, wants a particular chocolate bar, stuff like that. They're not getting it. They obviously have a tantrum. But you know, again, people will be like, you know, why can't their parents or whatever just tell them off? No, you can't, because then it extends it, then it makes it worse, doesn't it? It continues on. And then our parents, you've got to think how that parent's feeling. It's not just the fact that the child needs consoling, it's the fact that how that parent's feeling inside by everyone's staring, commenting, muttering, you know. The parent's probably feeling bad. So in that case, you know, some people actually, especially these children more so, don't like to go out. They don't like to socialise. They will keep their children in their homes, away from everyone, to avoid the meltdowns, to avoid the public staring, the comments, the muttering. They actually do that, and that's not a way to live, though, is it? It's not. Now, for me, I don't mind. As I say, I understand Matthew's got triggers, so I understand situations like if I would have, when I got on the train, if I would have seen the lady with the baby in the pram, sometimes I will be like, oh, I'll get on the next carriage, you know, because I understand that Matthew is going to be upset that that baby's crying. But I don't always isolate him. I will not keep him in because I've got a bit more understanding. And for me, I think, well, as I say, I'm hard-headed. If people stare and comment, I don't mind. But some people do. Some people do get upset by that. And some people get so embarrassed, you know, they want to run home straight away with their children and say, I'm not going out today. No, it's not fair, is it? That's not a way to live, you know. But yeah, just think next time if you're out and you see someone having a meltdown, maybe think, oh, what was the trigger? Or maybe think, oh, you know, the parents probably won't appreciate us staring. Or if you're some sort of specialist in your field for, like, you know, children's behaviours or something, go over and offer assistance maybe. Yeah, the parent might say to you, oh no, thank you, I'm okay. But they might be like, yes please, because they might need that help, that assistance, you know. And I just think, so the other day, as I say, I got a little scratch in my hand. But you know what, afterwards, he started he got upset himself because his emotions, he couldn't regulate them. He lashed out because he's unable to control how he felt about that situation. He wanted that to stop. He wanted that little baby to stop crying. He wanted the mum not to tell the little boy off. And he doesn't understand how to go about that. So his only way is, I'll, you know, have a meltdown. You know, I'll lash out. But you know, as soon as it died down, he was, oh, sorry dad, and that's nice, rubbing my hand, because he was getting upset because he's seen a little bit of blood, and he did upset him, he really did. And as I say, me, I was more concerned about Matthew. I didn't care about people around me staring. I just wanted them to feel better, so I'm trying to calm them down, saying, oh, you're a good boy, lovely boy, and all this stuff. Then trying to do like a story for him, what we're going to do for the rest of the day, to sort of distract him from that, to make his little mind go, okay, we move on now to the next thing. Some people are unable to do that. So please, if you're out in public and you see a parent, not just necessarily respecting his child, with another child, and they are having a public meltdown, just try and think how you'd feel maybe, you know, if it was on the other foot. You know, how you'd feel if it was your child or your family's child. Because we've all got brothers, sisters, you know, cousins, aunties, uncles, you know, all that stuff. We've all got them, and they've all got children. So there will be someone in your family that does this. And maybe speak to them and say, how does that make you feel? And that's more personal to you then, isn't it, if it's a family member, and they can explain to you. But yeah, I just thought I'd do a quick little, well, I say a quick video, it's nearly 10 minutes long, about a public meltdown, because you know what? We all experience it somewhere in our lives, don't we? We either experience it personally or experience it visually by seeing it happen to other people. So, and you know, I also wanted to do the video just to say, look, you know, I always put videos of Matthew being lovely and all this stuff. And you know what? Sometimes it's not the case. Sometimes it's not the case, but it's not always his fault. There is always a reason, always a trigger. So I hope that this sort of help people in a way, maybe. You know, so anyone else out there whose children do have the meltdowns as well, you're not alone. Please don't feel alone. Please don't let yourself be isolated. Reach out if you want to talk to someone. Reach out to me if you want to talk to someone. I don't mind. I'll chat to you all day long. So thanks for watching, anyone, and I'll see you in the next one.